Hello! I am so happy to see you on our channel Enjoy English Stories. Are you ready to practice your English speaking today? We are using the shadowing technique. This means you listen to my voice and repeat what I say immediately. Don't wait until the end of the sentence. Try to speak along with me, like an echo. Pay attention to my intonation, the rhythm of my words, and the emotion in my voice. Today, we have a very warm and cozy story about a woman named Sarah. She lives a very busy life in a big city, and sometimes she feels like she is losing herself in the noise. But then, she finds a small, forgotten treasure that changes everything. It is a story about family, memory, and the magic of slowing down. Let's start our practice. My name is Sarah. I am 32 years old, and I live in Chicago. Chicago is a city that never really sleeps. The elevated trains rumble past my window every 10 minutes, and the sirens of police cars and ambulances sing the city's song all night long. My life feels just as loud and fast as the city itself. I have a wonderful husband named Mark. He is an architect, and his mind is always full of blueprints, angles, and deadlines. He works very long hours, designing tall glass towers that touch the sky. We also have a beautiful 5-year-old daughter named Lily. Lily is a hurricane in human form. She has curly brown hair that never stays in a ponytail, and her favorite word is why. She loves to run, jump off the sofa, and ask 1,000 questions before breakfast. Why is the sky blue, Mommy? Why do dogs have wet noses? Why can't I eat ice cream for dinner? I work as a librarian in a large public library downtown. It is a beautiful, old building with high ceilings and enormous arched windows. I love my job. I love the smell of old paper and glue. I love organizing the books on the tall wooden shelves. Most of all, I love the silence of the library. It is a respectful, thoughtful silence. But when I come home at 6 o'clock, the silence ends abruptly. I open the door to chaos. Mark is usually in the kitchen, trying to cook dinner while talking on his phone to a contractor. The television is on, blaring a cartoon with loud, squeaky voices. And Lily is running around the living room, roaring like a T-Rex and chasing our poor, patient cat. My evenings are a blur of activity. I hang up my coat and immediately start helping Mark chop vegetables. I answer Lily's questions while setting the table. I pick up toy dinosaurs, Lego bricks, and stray crayons from the floor. By the time we sit down to eat, I am already exhausted. After dinner, it is bath time, story time, and the long, complex negotiation of getting Lily into her pajamas. Sometimes, I feel completely overwhelmed. It feels like I am on a treadmill that is moving too fast, and I cannot get off. I love my family more than anything in the world, but I am always tired. I feel like I am losing the quiet, calm part of myself. One Tuesday evening in November, something changes. It is a cold, rainy night. The wind is howling outside, making the windows rattle. I finally get Lily to sleep after reading her 3 books about bears. Mark is in the living room, his face illuminated by the blue light of his laptop, working on a new project. I am in the kitchen, wiping down the counters. It is 10 o'clock at night. The house is finally quiet. The only sound is the hum of the refrigerator and the soft rain against the glass. I decide to reorganize the spice cabinet, a task I have been putting off for months. I climb up on a small step stool to reach the very top shelf. In the far back corner, behind a dusty jar of dried oregano that expired 3 years ago, my hand touches something unfamiliar. It is a metal box. It is old, dented, and covered in a thick layer of greasy dust. I pull it down, coughing a little. I don't remember this box at all. It must have moved with us from our old apartment, and before that, from my childhood home. I sit at the kitchen table and wipe the lid clean with a damp cloth. The metal is rusty in places. I pry it open with a butter knife. Inside, it smells like dried lavender and vanilla. I find a stack of old, black and white photographs tied with a faded pink ribbon. They are pictures of my mother and grandmother when they were young, laughing on a beach somewhere. Underneath the photos is a small, worn notebook with a red cover. The edges of the paper are yellow and frayed. I open it carefully. The handwriting inside is elegant and loopy, written in dark brown ink. I recognize it immediately. It belongs to my grandmother, Rose. My grandmother passed away 10 years ago. She lived in a small town surrounded by apple orchards. She was famous in her town for her baking. Every Sunday, her kitchen was filled with neighbors and friends, drawn in by the smell of fresh bread and sweet pastries. This notebook must be her collection of secret recipes. I turn the pages slowly, feeling a wave of nostalgia. I see her recipe for perfect apple pie, with a note in the margin that says, "Always use cold butter and a cold heart." I smile. I see recipes for chewy chocolate chip cookies, fluffy lemon chiffon cake, and her famous cinnamon rolls. Then, near the end of the book, I find a page that stops me. The title is written in larger letters. The Midnight Cake. Under the title, my grandmother wrote a short note. For when the world feels too loud, and your soul feels too quiet, bake this in the silence, and find your peace. Tears prick my eyes. It feels like she wrote this note specifically for me, specifically for this moment. I look at the list of ingredients. It is a simple cake. It doesn't require fancy chocolate or exotic fruit. I need flour, sugar, butter, eggs, milk, a splash of vanilla, and a generous amount of cinnamon and nutmeg. I open my cupboards and fridge. I have everything. I look at the clock on the microwave. It is 10:30 p.m. I'm tired. The sink is full of dishes. I should go to bed. But something inside me, a small, quiet voice, tells me to bake. I tie my apron around my waist. I take out a large ceramic mixing bowl, the big wooden spoon, and the ingredients. I begin to measure the flour. The simple act of leveling the measuring cup feels meditative. I cream the butter and sugar together until they are pale and fluffy. The repetitive motion of mixing is soothing. I crack the eggs one by one, watching the bright yellow yolks fall into the batter. I add the vanilla, and its sweet, floral scent fills the air. Then comes the most important part. The spices. I measure out 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. The smell is warm, earthy, and comforting. It smells like autumn, like hugs, like my grandmother's kitchen. I pour the thick, fragrant batter into a greased cake pan. I feel a sense of calm that I haven't felt in weeks. I am not thinking about the noisy library patrons, the emails I need to answer, or the laundry pile that is growing in the bedroom. I am only thinking about the cake. I am present. Just as I am putting the cake into the oven, the kitchen door creaks open. I jump a little. It is Mark. He is rubbing his eyes, his hair messy. "Sarah, what are you doing?" he asks, his voice thick with sleep. He looks very surprised to see me in an apron at this hour. It is nearly midnight. "Are you okay?" I close the oven door gently. I'm fine, I say, and to my surprise, a real, genuine smile spreads across my face. I am baking my grandmother's midnight cake. Mark walks into the kitchen. He sniffs the air, which is already beginning to smell warm and sweet. The tension in his shoulders seems to relax. It smells amazing, he says softly. He leans against the counter and looks at me. It smells like home. He doesn't ask me why I am baking so late. He doesn't tell me I should go to bed. Instead, he asks, "Can I help you with the dishes?" I am surprised. Usually, at this time of night, we are both so drained that we just collapse into bed. Sure, I say. Mark rolls up his sleeves and starts washing the mixing bowls. I dry them and put them away. For the first few minutes, we work in comfortable silence. The only sounds are the splashing water and the ticking of the oven timer. Then, Mark starts talking. Not about his blueprints or his difficult clients. He starts talking about his day in a different way. He tells me about a funny conversation he overheard on the train. He tells me about a memory that popped into his head, a memory of building forts in the living room with his brother when they were kids. I listen, really listen. And then I start talking too. I tell him about finding the box. I show him the photographs of my mother and grandmother. We look at their smiling faces, their retro swimsuits, and we laugh. We talk about our own childhood summers. We talk about Lily, not about her tantrums or her messes, but about the funny things she said at breakfast, about how smart and curious she is, about our hopes for her future. We talk quietly, almost in whispers, so we do not wake her up. The kitchen feels like a safe, secret bubble, separate from the rest of the noisy world. It feels like it did when we first started dating, when we could talk for hours about everything and nothing. I look at my husband, really look at him, and I realize how much I have missed just talking to him. The timer on the oven beeps, loud and jarring in the quiet kitchen. I open the oven door, and a cloud of sweet, spicy steam billows out. The whole house smells like warm sugar, butter, and cinnamon. It is an embrace in the form of a scent. The cake is golden brown and has pulled away slightly from the sides of the pan, just like my grandmother's recipe said it would. I take it out and let it cool for a few minutes on a wire rack. Mark makes a pot of herbal tea. We cut 2 thick slices of the warm cake. We don't bother with plates, we just eat it from napkins, standing by the counter. I take a bite. The cake is soft, tender, and moist. The flavor is simple but profound. It tastes of comfort. It tastes of memory. It tastes of love. Mark takes a bite and closes his eyes. "Wow," he says. "This is incredible, Sarah. It's exactly what I needed." We finish our cake and tea in silence, a contented, happy silence. We go to bed feeling lighter, connected, and peaceful. The next morning, the usual chaos begins at 6:30 a.m. Lily wakes up and immediately starts singing a song about a purple monkey. She runs into the kitchen, where I am making coffee. She stops dead in her tracks and sniffs the air dramatically. "Mommy! Daddy!" she shouts, her eyes wide. Why does the house smell like a bakery? Did the muffin man come to visit? I laugh and pick her up. "No, sweetie. Mommy made a special cake last night." I cut her a small, square piece of the midnight cake for her breakfast. She takes a big bite, getting crumbs on her chin. Her eyes go even wider. "Wow! Mommy, This is magic cake. She shouts. It tastes like hugs. Mark walks into the kitchen, tying his tie. He looks at me over Lily's head and smiles. It's a warm, knowing smile. We both laugh. That Tuesday night changed something for us. It didn't make our lives less busy. The city is still loud, my job is still demanding, and Lily is still a beautiful hurricane. But we found a way to create a pause button. Now, once a week, usually on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, we have a midnight kitchen tradition. After Lily is asleep and the emails are answered, we meet in the kitchen. Sometimes I bake another recipe from my grandmother's book. Last week it was the lemon chiffon cake. Sometimes Mark makes us gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches. Sometimes we just drink tea and eat store-bought cookies. The rule is simple. No phones, no computers, no talk about work schedules or bills. We just focus on each other. We reclaim that quiet, intimate space in the middle of our chaotic week. I still feel tired many days. Modern life is exhausting. But I don't feel so overwhelmed anymore. I have an anchor now. I learned that even in the busiest life, you must carve out time for small, sweet moments. My grandmother Rose was right. She knew that sometimes, the act of creating something simple and sharing it with the person you love can make the whole noisy world feel quiet, manageable, and perfect again. I am Sarah. I am a librarian who loves silence. I am a mother who embraces the noise. I am a wife who treasures connection. And now, I am also a baker of secrets, keeping my grandmother's magic alive one midnight cake at a time. And my family is happier and sweeter than ever. Did you like the extended story of Sarah and her midnight cake? It's a wonderful reminder to find peace in small things. Now, it is time for your active practice. Go back to the beginning of the story. Listen to each sentence I read and repeat it out loud, immediately after me. Try to mimic the emotion. When Sarah is feeling overwhelmed, let your voice sound tired. When she finds the recipe, let your voice sound curious and excited. When she is talking to Mark in the quiet kitchen, let your voice be soft and warm. This emotional connection is key to mastering the natural flow of English. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just keep practicing. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this lesson, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more stories and practice sessions. Tell me in the comments. Do you have a family recipe that is special to you? Or do you have a special tradition that helps you relax? I would love to hear about it. See you next time.